back to LoveBabz Love Talk. We up early, and I'm up early this morning with Corey Sorenson. Hey, Corey.
Good morning. Good to see you. Good to talk with you.
See, it's nice when people got kids because I know people with kids get up early.
Always, every morning.
How are you? How was your
I,
holidays?
my holidays were great. We got some nice rest and got to spend some good time with the kiddos. I have twins, so
Whew.
just hanging
How
around the
old?
house. They're
How,
12.
the beginning of the tweens.
It started.
Oh, do they have cell phones?
They have cell phones. My wife calls them dumb phones. They're not smartphones. We don't want them on the social media quite yet, but they have cell phones and they are asking us every day for an iPhone.
Of course because they're friends.
Yep. How am I going to
Well,
FaceTime? How am I going to be cool? And then, of course, I try to keep up with all their slang. And I tried to use some of the words in the new year, and they're like, Dad, that was so 2025.
I know. Listen, and you're never gonna catch up. You just
Never.
listen. You just do the best you can and
Hmm.
stick by your little rules.
Exactly.
Don't lose your mind. So I'm so glad you're on this morning.
Thank
Because you know
you.
what? I did not know this about you when I met you last year. You're an actor, producer.
I am. I've done quite a bit of that in my life. That's where I got my MFA in Philadelphia for acting, and did that. Have been doing that off and on for 20 years. It's been lovely and a lot of fun.
I because we were Harry and I were doing our research because we didn't have a picture of you. So I go
Oh,
on, I put your name in, and I was like, "This is him." I was like, "But I don't know him from this. I know him from the Rosette Neighborhood Village Collective stuff and the brunch." So
yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's really important when you're, in a community to help out the community, and that's why I joined the collective. And I've been lucky enough to do some TV stuff here and there since I moved to Connecticut. But it's fun to it's fun to get out with people that really care about their community and making it a better place. And that's what we're going to be doing on Saturday. So
I
excited to have
love
you
it.
join us.
So this is a fundraising brunch, right? People can buy
Correct.
a ticket. The food is extraordinarily good because I was there last year. I said, yeah, yes, this year because of the food and Colleen's vegan French toast.
Absolutely. I mean, there's all kinds of options. It's going to be delicious. There's that lavish French toast you just talked about. She's going to have salmon gravlax, gluten-free, flourless chocolate cake, vegan options, like you said, for anybody. So all palates are welcome, and it's going to be celebratory and delicious.
So tell me about the Rosette Neighborhood Village
Sure.
Collective. Tell me about it.
The Rosette Neighborhood Village Collective is a group of folks from the New Haven County area. So I'm in Guilford, and there's people all over. And we were moved by the struggles of homelessness. We know that in New Haven, where a lot of people land when they are unhoused, they come from all over the county and, up and down the shoreline. And we saw that the folks just didn't have enough housing, didn't have enough options, and we wanted to try and help. So the way that it started was in about 2021 during COVID. We were still kind of in the thick of that. Folks were allowed to just sort of undeterred set up encampments in New Haven, and for the most part, the authorities and everybody just kind of let it be. It was COVID, but as people started coming back out of COVID, uh, those camps got destroyed, and people had no place to go. Now, the thing about a homeless encampment, of course, is if you're like I was, if you drive by, you probably look at that and go, that's a scary place, and I don't want to see that in my neighborhood. And that's understandable why people feel that way. The truth is that if you allow something like that to exist, people are able to take care of each other and have a safe-ish place to tent and to camp. If you scatter it, people go everywhere, and then they're in doorways and they're in your park, and they've got no place else to go. So the Rosette Neighborhood Village started to say, there's the house called the Amistad House of Hospitality in the Hill District in New Haven. That's like one of the poorest neighborhoods in New Haven. And the owners of that house, Mark and Luz Colville, said, come and camp in my backyard. I have land. You can at least stay here. There's a place. And for 30 years, these really wonderful folks have been giving meals and blankets and all kinds of aid to people who are food insecure and who are unhoused. And what happened after that encampment got busted up, and a lot of people started coming, was there were a few friends of the Amistad House who just kind of looked around and said, I think we can do a little better than this, just to give you like a little bit of a scale of the problem. In the state of Connecticut, there are approximately 3,700 people who are unhoused. Wow. 1,200 of them are in the greater New Haven area. So, and it's been going up year over year. So this year, since the last kind of official count, which was in October of 2024, there's been a 55% increase in homelessness. Wow. And more than 630 people, so that's over half of the folks who are unhoused, are living on the street. So there's simply not enough housing. There's not enough support, and people get homeless for all kinds of reasons. People become homeless because of medical bills that bankrupt them, because they're escaping violence in their home and abuse, because their rent goes up and the two jobs that they have is not enough to keep them in their apartment, and then they get evicted and they live in their car for as long as they can. There's a lot of families and there's a lot of elderly people who are struggling and on the street. And that's right here in our community. So we thought maybe we could do a little bit better than just having them sleep in tents, especially during the winter time. We know that just about 2 months ago, a gentleman named Abdullah Conchero passed away on the New Haven Green. He was 65 years old, and he was turned away from a shelter because the shelters were full. And he died that night. So we wanted to do a little bit better. And looking around and kind of just taking stock of the options, we found that there were these what are described as deeply affordable housing units, which can get put up in a day. They are shelters. They've been deployed all across the country. Los Angeles, Madison, Providence, Rhode Island has about 200 units. So this is a model that we thought maybe we could bring this to the backyard as just an opportunity to not only give some people a better option, but also maybe even show the city like, hey, this is possible. It doesn't need to be millions and millions of dollars to give people a roof and a locked door and a place to put their stuff so that they can go to a job interview without carrying a grocery cart full of, their things. And so we started fundraising, and we got support. It's just really wonderful from all over the country, really, and everything from $5 here to a couple hundred to even $1,000 here, and we put it all together. And for about $100,000, we were able to build 6 shelters in a day that house 8 people. And the amazing thing about that is that it sits in the backyard of the Amistad House of Hospitality, which, as I said, has this history of helping the neighborhood. The 8 people that live in those shelters are able to use the laundry facilities, the kitchen, and the bathroom in the Amistad House. So they really have a range of services. They have places that they can go and make food, so they started to make meals for one another. There are nurses that come out and visit. That's part of something that Amistad has set up. So there really is a lot of support for folks. and we're certainly not the only place in New Haven. Like I said, there's about 600 beds where people without housing live, and so we're just trying to add to that to take some of the burden off of these folks who otherwise have no options. And it's been a success. It can be a transient population, and there's certainly loss that can happen, but we've successfully transitioned folks back to their families where they were estranged from, so that they could get support and move back in or out of state, wherever they're from. We've transitioned people into their own apartments. We've helped people get jobs. We have a host of volunteers. It's all volunteers who drive them to job appointments, drive them to medical appointments. Just really, when you are completely out of options and you're living on the street, everybody looks at you and like you're a piece of garbage, really. Like, I don't want to look at you. I'd rather you not be here. Seeing you makes me feel things that are uncomfortable for me, and ick, this is gross, go away. That is often the reaction that people have. If you're in a place where people are reacting to you like that, your ability to take a step forward for yourself is severely diminished, and you need some help and you need some support. And so when people are out of options, they often come to Amistad, and we pick them up and we try to help them as best we can. And so on Saturday, we are having a brunch, and we are trying to raise some money to keep this little light in the midst of an otherwise dark world burning and bright, and give hope to people. So that's what the Rosette Neighborhood Village is. And the collective, like I said, is just a group of volunteers, everything from lawyers and authors and business folks, and we have mental health professionals. So a lot of caring and loving people have joined this effort, and it's been really great to see. And we need more good people doing good things in this world. So it's a blessing to be a part of.
Absolutely. So how do the neighbors feel? Like, what do the neighbors say?
It's a great question. Since the Amistad House of Hospitality has been in operation for 30 years, there have been a lot of folks who have come and gone through there, hundreds, really, thousands probably over the years, who've needed support. So the neighborhood is accustomed to there being people in and out there. I think when it was getting started, there was concern from the owners, Mark and Luce, that they wanted to take care of the neighborhood too, because you can't really be successful at bringing unhoused people into a house situation in a neighborhood if the neighbors are unhappy. Like, everybody's got to be okay with it. So they've been very supportive. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line. Folks have been supportive. The neighbors were appreciative that we put up a fence so that folks could have some privacy from their yard and into where these shelters are. But it's been a lot of support, and to be honest with you, there are plenty of folks in the neighborhood who get down on their luck sometimes and need support from Amistad. So some of the neighbors who actually live in the houses there need food sometimes, and they come to Amistad too. So it's kind of a great example of what can happen when it's not just about throwing money at the problem, but it's about throwing some love and compassion into the mix as well.
This fundraiser that you're having on Sunday, the brunch,
yeah,
this wonderful brunch. I'm already ready to get there.
Mm-hmm.
What will this money do? What will you use this money for?
Well, that's a great question. The primary reason for the brunch is operating expenses, electricity to try and heat the units, to provide food for folks. Like I said, it's not just the 8 folks that live in the backyard, but it's also people that come and go and need meals, and that's a daily thing. So there's a lot of money that goes to just feeding folks. Additionally, we provide transportation. We provide supplies to people. If they come in, they need a blanket. They need, some Band-Aids. They need some toilet paper. It's your kind of all your basic needs. And then beyond that, we will be doing, a paddle raise auction to try and just kind of keep and maintain what we have. The bathroom needs a little bit of support. So there's a lot of people in and out on the floor. So we're trying to just, resurface the floor. So kind of just basic upkeep stuff, things that you would need to do in any home. Just imagine that, hundreds of people are coming in and out. But every dollar, and this is actually very important, every dollar that comes in is direct service because no one's making money off of this. And so what that allows is an ability to really help a lot of people for not a tremendous amount of money. And it kind of just shows you what's possible. So the money goes directly to help folks who are living in Amistad and who are food insecure in New Haven and come to visit.
And so how did you come to this, Corey? Like, how did they find you? How did you find them?
I love that question. And, I got to lift up the New Haven Independent in this one. They had named Mark and Lou's Persons of the Year. This was maybe back in 2019, and they had been doing some stories about Mark opening up his backyard to unhoused folks and saying, there's a place here. And I came to visit. I brought my children. My wife, called and said, could we stop by? Is there anything we could do? And he said, I think if you want to do something, the first thing you should do is come and see and come and meet people and just talk. And I remember being there. There was a gentleman named Benjamin who was living in the backyard, and he was so happy to see children. And there was a cat that was roaming around the backyard, and my daughter Eden loves cats, and so she wanted to pet the cat. And Benjamin, who has no home and was between jobs, had $1, and he went across the street and he used his $1 to buy some cat food to come back so that she could feed the cat and pet the cat. And I just thought, that was very moving to me. And I was just moved by the whole situation. I chatted with Mark a little bit about this idea of the tiny shelters, and I don't want to be glib, but it just seemed like kind of a no-brainer. Like this, it'd be dumb not to do this if it's possible. There's so many things that feel impossible in the world, and in fact, if you listen to the health and the HUD secretary sometimes speaking about housing, and when they talk, and it's a resource issue. If you've got the resources and you just allocate them towards people who need them, that lifts everybody up. And I believe a rising tide floats all boats. So, helping people out, it makes me feel good. It makes them feel good. It makes the world a better place. And so I wanted to give back. I've been very fortunate in my life, and to just sit and hoard all of my resources and, resurface my kitchen cabinets seemed pretty shallow when I was thinking about what was possible for people who really don't have anything. So that's how I came to it.
Thank you so much, Corey Sorenson. I so appreciate you coming on and talking about this. And I hope people who are listening can come to this brunch on Saturday.
Yeah, let me just say where it is, if I could. It's it's at the Unitarian Society of New Haven, which is in Hamden. It's going to be, so that's Saturday, January 24th at 11:30. Babz, you're going to be there. I'm excited to see you. So again, Unitarian Society of New Haven, January 24th, this Saturday at 11:30. Delicious food. And we're also going to be visited by State Representative Lori Sweet, who's going to be talking a little bit about some of the legislative action that she's trying to undertake to maybe take this model and make it a little bit more possible throughout the state. So there's other speakers that are going to be there just to like learn about it, and it'll be really neat. And if anybody wants to learn more about the project, rosettevillage.org is the website. You can purchase brunch tickets there. And if you want to come and you can't afford it, we'd love to have you anyway. Please come out.
Thank you so much, Corey. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
A compelling, engaging story. And so I hope to see lots of people on Saturday. It's always a good time. So I want people to understand it's a good time. It's serious, but it's a good time, and people come and they engage, and they come with a giving spirit, and the food is terrific. So can't get any better than that.
Can't get any better. We'll laugh, we'll eat, and we'll do some good.
Yes. Thank you, Corey. Good to see you. And I'll see you on Saturday.
See you Saturday. Thank you so much.
All right. Good to see you. All right, Harry. Thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow. See y'all later.
This is Babz Rawls-Ivy, New Haven, Connecticut, and you're listening to WNHHLP 103.5 FM, streaming live at newhavenindiana.org.